of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. It's a working session for the Guam Power Authority. For the record, those present are myself, Commissioner Mtiako, and Commissioner Gutherds. And John, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
Oh, I'm sorry, John, before you start. Commissioner Sanchez and Commissioner Santos are both excused, just for the record.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Today, I have to go through actually all of the three items that are on the agenda.
Okay.
Stanley Consulting EPCM contract budget amendment. I'm taking the extension of the contract with Agrico. We're not ready at all. The third one is exercising an option for uniform security guard. On the first item is the Stanley Consultant EPCM. This is again related to the EPCM Engineering, Procurement, and Construction Management that assists our personnel for the new 198 megawatt power plant. Sport is the engineering group that leads this procurement, and within that group there are a few engineers working with the EPCM who has the technical expertise of the new power plant and all of that, and assisting us. So again, this docket actually began in October 2016, where funding of 750,000 was provided. In March 2018, another 600 was provided, again, to complete the procurement documents. And again, the EPCM has been with us since 2016 and going through the process of preparing the procurement documents, helping us through the bid process, the analysis, making the award, and now that we're done with the award, going through the process of all the work needed to get towards the completion of the new power plant. So again, going through the funding, the funding in 2018 was 600,000, and then in November 2018, the PUC approved an increase to 2.4. Yourself and the PUC approved an increase of 2.4 to complete the procurement support and owner's engineer support during construction and commissioning. We issued a multi-step bid for the new power plant in November and signed a contract in November of 5th of 2019. And now the work begins to put the power plant together up to the 2022-2023 period. And so therefore the contract of the EPCM can go through all the way through March of 2022. Thereafter, we will need a new we'll have to go up for a new RFP for the EPCM. And they may or may not be the next EPCM after that. But again, we're thinking by August of next year, going out and opening that bid for the last phase of the project. Because if you see, this was like a 5-year program, but there was a lot. The process took much longer than we anticipated to get to a contract, no? Mm-hmm. And so therefore, March 2022 is the end of the EPCM contract, and we will need to go out for a separate one, and we plan to do that in August 2021. So tonight I'll be asking your request to increase the Stanley EPCM contract by 2.25 million for the additional period of time between now. Actually, we anticipate we'll be running out of money around January. So from January 2021 all the way through March of 2022, we will need about 2.25 million to get to that point. I have a presentation that shows you all the different work, completion and all the things. I will go through it quickly and answer any question, but it will sort of give you an idea of the complexity and all the work that has to be done to get to getting the power plant going. The total contract then with this additional request of 2.25 million will bring the total to about $6 million, and $6 million is about 1% of the total contract for a power plant. And project for something like this was shown before will be in the 1 to 3% of cost for the engineering support. So we're in the lower end of that support. No? This is very busy, Mr. Chair, so I will just go through some of it, and,
Sure.
and again, we have an opportunity to look through it, and if you have any other questions more specific, I can address it even on the
Okay.
meeting. No?
Yeah, the commissioners will stop you if they have a question, John.
Okay,
Go ahead.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, PUC funding is what I'll go through and work completed and work to be completed next. So this is again the total approved to date was 3.7. It includes all of this, as I mentioned earlier in the resolution. Next, and so what we're looking on, what has been looking at is the average for over 41 months of work was about 73,000. Average billing per month over the last 7 months has been 130. And now you can expect that a higher cost because now we're involved with the gamuts of the power plant permitting and everything. So we anticipate our 726 out of the 2.4 will bring us into January 2021 or around that period of time. Again, this is a timeline. It shows you, it's been an extensive journey from preparing the bid specs to bidding out to negotiating a contract to now again beginning the process of putting the power plant together. These are again work that have been completed. Again, delineating all of that. Next, qualification phase. They help us in looking at the evaluating all the bids. Remember, we had 18. We brought it down to 7. Then the 7 became 3 that went into bid, and that was the one that we ended up with bid prices with. But again, that's a long process. Next, and even before that, when we do the bid process, we had to go to PUC for approval, back specifications back and forth. Before we did anything, it's always been PUC CCU approval through that whole process. No? Again, technical commercial proposals received. 4 respondents. Selection made. Your project was voted. Lest we forget, we went through all this process, and then there was a protest, no? And then we have to deal with that. We have to deal with that process in 20 delayed negotiations, and so every time there's delays, there's other issues come up that make it a bit more difficult. So again, the key here is that even in the final contract negotiations for the contract began in July. The ECA was submitted for approval in September and got approved in November 2019. Last year is when we finally had a contract with KEPCO to proceed the new power plant. And then now the next phase of the project begins. The construction phase of the project begins. Project initiation phase during this past year, if you will. Weekly permitting calls established, always constant calls between KEPCO, GPA, and Stanley involved. And again, partnering sessions, we're trying to get everybody together to understand what all needs to be done. And again, through all this period of time, we had COVID-related travel restrictions that we had to deal with. So that didn't help the progress in this process.
So John, just
Next.
real quick. So going back to your last slide. So
Mhm.
there are weekly meetings held for permitting as well as weekly KEPCO GPA status calls every single week
Every single week. There's a whole bunch
since
of
December
Yeah.
of last year. But I don't think we've briefing on
An
the
update.
status.
Yeah.
For 10
Because
months.
these are all the, if you would, all in the, what do you call it? Process of getting the power plant. So as far as providing yourselves a briefing on this, I mean, whatever we brief today, because they're going through in the parties, probably may not be of any significance tomorrow. So
I,
this is where,
I think, John, I share Chaco's concern, because if you apply this for milestones completed,
yeah,
okay, see this one, John? Need to have a sense of where we are in this process. You should, I don't know, and I'm not what we need is a milestone from here to here. So we actually kick off the plan and start in power, right? And then all these milestones along the way. Then you can put the time frames, and it could be a good update for the commission to let us know where we are. But a complete in other words, you're just giving us the milestones complete.
Yep.
Is there a picture of all the milestones?
we do have a picture, but it's not me, this is where I'm coming from now. It may not be the representative.
Oh, no, but
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to explain
Yeah,
what you're
okay.
trying to. There's two paths to go down to permitting. There's the minor path and a major source path.
Mm-hmm.
The minor source path is what we anticipated this plan will be constructing though.
Mm-hmm.
And the contractor is looking at the major source path, even despite what we've been working on with them.
Mm-hmm.
So we continue to work down that path together with them and US EPA to determine what is path. No?
What's the better path?
What is the better path that so once we get to that point, hopefully over the next month or two, then I can have a clear delineation of here's all the other parts of the path. In the meantime, that's the air permitting side, right? On the other side of the equation, there's the environmental impact. You have to go through all the different, biological, historical, all the different paths of this, the EIA. So this is all construction of the plan. So all of this happening here and the settlement.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying that trying to get, we hope we can get that path settled in over the next month. So therefore, now I can begin a more consistent monthly update of where, and now we're all heading down the same page.
Yeah.
But right now we're kind of in this type of scenario, and it would kind of be, to me, kind of counterproductive to continue, update on this type of scenario until we get them together.
Speaking more along the lines of, we're talking about a construction management resolution to approve funding for more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that for the length of time that this current construction manager, Stanley, has been on the job, 10 months, I'm not sure we've been presented any reports from our construction manager as to the status of how. We don't need to get into the weeds. We don't want the details that the engineering work on. We're more interested, general path, general construction timeline, where are we? So that you're still working on a presentation to brief us on, but I would think in 10 months of the construction manager working on it, they have some solid information as to, are we on track? Are we behind?
No, and that's what I'm trying to say to you.
They don't?
What I'm trying to say to you is you're looking either at a 3-year path or a 5-year path.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're trying to settle now. No? And
But
so,
which plan is the one that we agreed to with EPA?
well, we agree with the contractor for project completion of October 2022.
Okay.
Our presumption is that that's a minor source path.
Okay, that's the 3-year path?
Yeah. But they're not saying they can't do a 3-year based on all the machines that are there in one location.
Mm-hmm.
They have to go through the major source.
This is what you're referring to with the additional standby generation power
Correct.
that is causing a major
That's
source
correct.
path as a.
Correct. So we're trying to settle that because it's a 3-party deal, no?
Mm-hmm.
KEPCO, GPA, UA. So that's the process now, no? And until settle in, I can go involved in all of that, but kind of not there yet.
Okay.
And I will show you, I don't necessarily want to go through everything, but I delineated all the different things that has to be done and they've been worked over the past 10 months, no?
Okay.
But you have 20 different agencies you have to coordinate with. Of course, even themselves, they're contractors. They have some contractors trying to get on board. People are, they haven't constructed power plant here in 30 some years.
Yeah, I'm
So-
not trying to
No.
discount the complexity of it. I'm just wondering if we're paying our managers for timeline, the minor source timeline, paying them to make sure we're on track, because they're the ones that developed the solicitation, were involved in the award. So, from my standpoint, we do need to get an update on that.
And the other thing is that really, this is a CAPCO scenario, and we're trying to get them to stay on the schedule. But again, that's still being worked on, no? And okay, so again here, CAPCO next phases. Go ahead, next page. Again, so these are the things that they have helped us with through our Holy Spirit project, the permitting phase. Again, here's where I told you decides to pursue major source. They provided us an action plan for major source in June of this year, and we've been again we're not agreeing with the plan, but again, that's their plan, and we cannot really tell them to go one way back to what we had planned for, because they're responsible to stick to penalties in the contract if they don't do it. But again, we can tell them how to proceed in this source, no?
And the solicitation itself did not predetermine
We
or
didn't say minor
specify
source
the
or
major.
major source.
But what they propose, our engineers, our GPA engineers, had a rough order of magnitude as to whether it would be a minor or major source, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So when they proposed whatever they proposed in their the combination of power generation, at that point that they were proposing it, we already knew that had to go major source, right?
We didn't know until after didn't really know until not before, we afterwards.
Oh, after?
But even that when they put in that they could comply with the October date,
Mhm.
which presumes from our thing that's a minor source.
Mhm.
But their presumption was that they were going minor source. But the hiccups became when they started doing the modeling of the 198 plus another 63. That started to exceed a minor source limitation of 100 tons per year of emission.
So
Therefore, the machines, the 63 operating hours became very limited.
Mhm.
And it actually does not, did not provide the best value even for us at GPA.
Mhm.
So during this period of time, we've been trying to help. How do we relocate the diesels to another location, get the best value for GPA, reduce the tons of emission in KEPCO, in Okudu, so that they can proceed on a minor source and stay on track. And all of that involved dollars and cents within their contract, so it's like pulling teeth here and there. So we, early on, around the March-April timeframe, we talked about Marbu allocation. That fell through the cracks. Now we're talking about a Cabers location. Recommendation is to try and relocate those diesels so that we can use it long term, similarly to how we're going to use a Greco. Today, if you keep it there under the Okudu, then you can only use it for very limited hours of the year, 500 hours. So we can back the plan itself up. It doesn't really have it's not really, it provides the best.
You can't use them concurrently if you needed them.
No,
You'd have to either be.
And even when your steam turbine is out for overhaul, that's a 3-day overhaul. You can't even use them uh, machines in one time cover that load. Therefore, you're going to have to have other reserve.
And that's because of the restrictions on the air emission.
Restrictions on the air emission based on the type of permitting
Right.
that you pursue. Under a minor source, you can do 150 tons per year. Under a major source, you can do 250 tons.
Mhm.
So it's not that it's more pollutant or whatever. It's just the criteria set for the EPA permitting. It's just that one minor source does not require monitoring. You monitor the island for 1 year.
Okay. So there's challenges, but you have potential solutions.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Next, again, so this is the support services they provide for us, including again, there's work going on. This is quite a complex project. If you recall, if we mentioned, even though it sounded that we were gonna do something like this, but we're gonna use the wastewater treatment.
Mhm.
So we have to work out all the details of that wastewater treatment, including the permitting of waste and all of those different things. So again, that's one part of it. So they're working with us and in resolving those issues. Next, historical preservation, the pipeline. That's something that, because the pipeline is ours, and they said we're doing the permitting for that. And so, if you recall the requirement on historical preservation, right now they're quite busy because of the military expansion, including how they've wanted things to be done. So we had to work with them to hire an EC environmental person to begin working on the process so that we can get historical preservation, on board. So we are doing that, not, working, but again, that's still the challenge that we need to work with them with. And they hire the archaeologists as a subcontract to this project.
And that's required because you're going to put the pipelines underground.
That's correct.
If you just went with keeping the pipeline above ground, which your current pipeline is, you can proceed.
Yeah. You still have to do whatever you stick anything in the ground,
Mm-hmm.
you're still gonna have to look at historical preservation of where do you just make an analysis, or there seems to be a more uh, shovel test first now, which of course extends all of this and
Mhm.
that, no? So
You
that's
mean
kind of
for-
where we are, and we can't put the entire uh, pipeline on. The pipeline now there's some areas that are above ground, but the majority is underground, no?
Okay.
And it goes right through right-of-ways on Marine Drive, so there's no, we have to go underground, no? So that's why again, they're helping us in getting. In fact, we're gonna have to bring in more archaeologists for this project. Once we get all our final work plan with the historical preservation, then we'll be able to see how fast we can get thing done. We have 15 miles of, no? So, even though we have the right of way, archaeological issues are of prime concern, most especially today, no? Next. Again, this the different type permitting support, calculations necessary, reviewing schedules and everything. So we do have schedules I can provide the commission an idea of what that is, but again, uh, we're trying to get them on our right schedule, but we do have some schedule that is there today that delineates all of this, like
Mhm.
a Gantt chart and everything. It's all there.
Yeah.
It's very well tracked, but again,
But
there's
have
still a lot of moving parts. No?
but have we passed any critical path date yet? have we met all the critical paths, or are there any?
No.
We have not,
The
okay.
critical path date, of course, is the permitting.
Mhm.
That's still floating in that one. The critical path for them is financial closing. They cannot close financially until they know the permitting,
Mm.
get to the permitting. But they are still, so so again, that's why I'm trying to say, until I get this thing tighter and more straight path, then okay, now we have something that we can work on. No? Yeah.
John, I have a question, and maybe I'm not understanding this right, but KEPCO has to get to the point where they actually, what is that critical path for them where they actually
Financial
start?
close.
Financial close.
Financial close,
yeah.
okay. Yet they're also responsible for building our pipeline. We're responsible for permitting, but they're actually going to do the bids for the
Yeah.
pipeline and everything, right?
Yeah.
Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? In other words, if they don't do the financial close, how can we start the pipeline? In other words, I don't know how you're going to do
No,
it.
good question, Mr. Chair. The financial close is for, remember we required KEPCO to provide 20% equity.
Right.
Mhm.
So all of 600 million, they have 100 million that they can be working with, no? Okay. But then to go through the whole construction and commit the whole power plant, that goes into the financial close, which is August, no? And that, but then to go to the market for their balance of money, they need to at least get these permits ready, so then when the bankers lend them money, then they have a project forward, see?
Okay.
That's kind of why we're still
So
in that.
they won't start any actual work, construction work, like digging for the
Yeah.
pipeline. They won't do that until they do the financial close and they secure their funds from the,
And plus the permitting from the archaeological. Until
And the
the
permitting.
archaeological, we have an agreement on all of it, then they can't do anything anyway. So this
Okay,
is the
I'm
phase
just-
we're in.
yeah, okay.
All of this permitting has to occur. And they can do, doing some clearing and grading to get the land cleared again for that work. And once they made their clear path and have their, as to where they're going, because,
Okay.
so that's we're kind of we're, over the tail end of trying to get this to where it starts heading down one path, and then we have a more clear, definitive schedule, no?
Okay.
Again, here are environmental permits, cultural resources, EIA approval, pre-construction permits, next. Air permits, under major source, you have to do dispersing modeling, BACT analysis, public hearings. That's not part of a minor source. You don't need to do those. Again, air permit is critical path schedule next. Biological, again, you're looking at having to get all these clearances, wetlands in some area where the pipeline is going through, threatened and endangered species. There's some in areas that it does go through. Again, it doesn't mean that the project will stop. It just means that there'll be mitigation plans and actions to do in those areas. So again, they're secondary project critical, but again, the EIA, all of this worked on. Again, the pipeline route and then the power plant construction route. So all of these are continue to be worked on now. So hopefully we'll get there pretty soon. We've been working very hard with SHPO to how we can assist each other to make things happen. So we have no. That's going along good. EIA, environmental impact, again. These are all the areas we have to look at before financial closing occurs. It's pre-construction permits. Next. Again, delays and all of this cost money, no? Cost the contractor money. At the same time, it's also going to cost us some money with the construction management and all of that. So that's why we continually try to stay on a minor source or work out something to make that happen. So that's kind of where we're honing in now to that point, no?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm saying. Hopefully, within the next 2 months, we get that result. Because again, it's a three-party thing. The US EPA, contractor, and ourselves. Contractor is going to permit the US EPA. US EPA understands the consent decree, and the others. How do we stay on track? How do we not miss any important environmental milestone? Again, so, we don't have the manpower or the expertise to handle all of this. So this is why we have the EPCM. This is why we brought forth. We do have a very strong team in sport to handle and coordinate and do all and work with them. And then, of course, I make the decisions with them and all of this. But all of this, we're not their meetings with virtual meetings with this group to continue the project going forward. Next. Again, at this point, all the parties already have been going through whatever learning curve for anything that is there. Even KEPCO themselves have never put a big. No one's, like I said, in the past 20 years has put a power plant project together like this. So all of this is coming together.
In Guam, you mean?
Huh?
In Guam, you
In
mean,
Guam,
right?
yeah.
KEPCO has done this.
Yeah, done it
Throughout the
in
world.
Jordan, other places, right? But Guam, under US EPA, it is challenging and very thing. So, but now everyone now is getting up to speed. So this is kind of where start now. So again, next. So again, they continue to help us on all of these things, so we can successfully get the power plant going. In terms of not only as we begin now to getting the permits, but also as they begin to complete all the designs. And remember, before they can even go out for financial closing, they have to work out all the design costs and parameters. So they have some preliminary, so many percent design of even say, for example, the treatment plant. What piping, what cost, how they're going to do this, and all of that. See? So this is all the things that also were being worked out to be able to get to put all the numbers together to go towards a financial closing. Challenges, there are 5 subcontractors right now, at least at this point. Water interface, again, permitting issues. No one's quite familiar with this. It doesn't matter whether it was KEPCO, HUNWO, or anybody. There will have been some learning curve. More than 20 agencies involved in permitting. And again, we're trying to work all through this, through a COVID-19 period of stop and go. But forget, everyone's getting better with virtual meetings and all of that. So that's how things are being done today. Next. So again, we need the help on this complex project to get it done. And next. And so, again, the contract, again, that average of 125, that will go up and down. If a lot of the permitting issues go and it's just review of the contract of the compliance of the plans and specifications to that, I don't need them to be that review, but more a global review. But most of the work is being done now, so this number will probably come down, but again, for the entire period, that's our projected need.
So why would it fluctuate? Is it because it's, the solicitation was for time and materials, or is it a firm fixed
No,
price?
it depends on the expertise you need. Sometimes you're gonna start dealing with, okay, the, the steam turbine specs and the construction design and everything for the power plant itself.
Mm-hmm. So,
So then,
what is the nature of the
Stanley
solicitation?
pulls in the particular expertise to uh, review the project. Although it's what you call a turnkey project type, you still need to review whether it complies with the with the requirements of the bid spec,
Mhm.
meaning, does it provide this redundancy for this reliability? At the end, we can be assured that at least KEPCO needs to put a power plant together that complies with the performance standards. But at the same time, we need to also ensure that they're not just putting in anything that at some point in time, whatever that entails, we have to take over the machine and do all of that. So the high is not the this level, but the mid-level review of that. So that's when they start putting in all the different expertise required, not full time, but as necessary to make that happen. So you see up and down in the process.
John, the construction management solicitation is firm fixed price, IDIQ? How is it? Because
No, no.
that's the only way I can vision the cost going fluctuating is that it's IDIQ and you're exercising a task order of some sort. That's why there's increased cost for a specialty thing.
No, this is not just a construction management contract.
Okay.
This is an engineering, procurement, uh, management, and construction. The last part of it is going to be the construction
Mm-hmm.
management. The other part of it was they helped us since the beginning, prepare the bid, the specifications, go through the bid, write all of this process, and then the final negotiations of the contract. It took a lot of time because there's back and forth or details, and that's the form becomes real detailed, right? So now we're going to be heading into the construction management phase. So this course is broken down into a lot of these various spaces. I can bring that out, but I lumped it in uh, because of the uh, uncertainty as we move forward. The other thing is that at some point, again, this is up to March of 2022. This doesn't even bring us to the end of the contract.
Yeah, so that was
So the next contract we go out will be more defined in terms of that. But right now, this is a full EPCM blown contract. That's how you're seeing it as that amount.
and so that was my other question. You had mentioned that what you're requesting here won't take us to the end of the,
Power plant.
the power construction, right? So
Commissioning, yeah.
would that be your preference to not keep the same construction manager throughout the process? I mean, obviously you can put it out for bid again, but is that your preference to not have the same one? Or
Well,
what's the logic behind it?
It would be my preference to keep because again, the learning, of all of this thing. However, I don't think, depends on the procurement regulations. It depends on the contract is for 5 years. Can it be extended? No?
Mm.
So those are issues that we will deal with as we move forward
To be
here,
in compliance with the procurement law.
That's right.
Okay, well,
And then
that's
have a new
that's the right thing to do,
Yeah.
is to comply with the procurement law.
So then the next step now will be, again, do I still take a separate group to go out and do a construction management instead of the same group that prepared the whole spec? No. Again, that's another consideration that I'm looking at as we move forward. But it's not there today, you know what I mean? But those are the issues that we will we will deal with and see what we believe may be the best at that point in time. Because again, my thought is we don't need a 1,000-foot construction management look more than a higher level. But on one, and we'll see that as more and more the plans and everything are developed, we can see to what extent we have to watch the construction moving forward. Okay. But that's the total at this point, and again, it's based on the monthly invoicing.
Mm. So my last question is, are you happy with your current EPCM contractor, Stanley? Have they been performing to your expectations?
They have been performing to our team's expectation, I believe, no? I am happy that we're here this far. I always have, could some of these things been anticipated? Sometimes hindsight is better than that, but I think for the most part, yes, we've been happy. I have a high standard when it comes to getting these things done. So, but again, I'm happy. I think lesson learned on some of these things, and we're moving forward. No?
Okay.
I mean, again, and that's it's just not a one-party deal. It's the whole party team deal, whatever reason.
So I got another question. So then, just the scope of work of the current contract, it has the safeguards in so that you're able to enforce to meet your high expectations? Because you said you had high expectations of them, right? So I just want to make sure that you do have the necessary enforcement provisions within the contract so that they will meet your expectations.
Well, I can always say I'm not going to move it forward today, right?
Mm.
But is that the right thing to do?
Oh no, I'm just saying that if we're moving
Is
forward,
that going to make me move this project faster?
yeah.
No. I think my expectations are always going there, whether they can achieve it or not. They have to keep making sure that they try to achieve. Because at the end of the day, that being the case, we're going to be better than what if we didn't have that expectation. That's where I'm at. So, so I'm expecting more. Even after seeing today, I could understand. So to me, they provided what they can, and I would say a little above average of where it is, but still, I still have to move it forward. And so there are issues with this that we probably could have done better. In hindsight is always better than, but at
Are
this point,
those issues that you can better are just with Stanley, or they're
it's
with
overall
everybody involved,
everybody involved,
including our own staff?
including myself. No, but again, like when we're going out for a power plant like this, right? It's not that you could get a whole bunch of people to come in to do that. And then you have a procurement regulation that says, I the procurement regulation aside, 20 will want this, blah, 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 blah. No? And let's go up and procure. But the procurement regulation and the process is such that no, you got to open it all up to everybody, including renewables, do all of this thing. And this is the process I've been going through, no? So we open all these things up so this is what happens. It's not as tight as it could be.
Mm-hmm.
We're still ending up with where I actually wanted to go, or we wanted to go, no? Combined cycle, blah, blah, blah. But this is the concept of that, no? And I'm not saying it was the wrong thing to do. I'm just saying, it could have been faster if we did it another way. But again, it's all hindsight, and everybody, including myself, maybe for whatever reason, not pounding harder and whatever. But again, I have to succeed that I have to get approval of so many people's project going, no?
Yeah.
So that's
Well, you know, it's a challenge. I mean, it's the biggest project this agency is gonna ever take on unless, you know, the demands increase in the future. But, so I don't wanna discount the complexity of it. I wanna make sure that you know, you have all the tools you need to be successful and that we're on track.
Yep. And I appreciate that. And this is kind of, you know, this is just kind of where we are now is that even our team, you know, um, for example, even let's talk about sport team. What are they dealing with today? Huh? And again, this is also we're putting a new power plant. We go through this whole process that you see today, right? The same people have to do with bidding for RFO. No? Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, renewable. Preparing the IRP to where we're going to go to 50 or 100%. So you have the same team, excellent team of people, of engineers and that are putting all of this together. So this is where, again, the support comes in to help. So sometimes things like, you know, get off in a wide leg, and again, even myself, the team, right? But still performing higher than where we could just, you know, leave it alone or station. But so again, we're proceeding above average a little bit, right? And my hope is that once we get clear on some of these issues, things gonna just take off. But in over the next, you know, over the next 2 months is to me, the critical time for wait. That's the time. And then, but I can, what I would send the commission soon submittals by the contractor, which delineates all of the different steps. And the reason I haven't is because I'm not agreeing that I'm still not satisfied that that's where we're gonna go. And I'm convinced, you know, it looks like they're coming closer and closer to an agreement. So, so again,
I think the only thing I want to tell you is we acknowledge that this is the biggest project we're going to pull off for the government of Guam. GPA, this is the biggest for you guys. So it's going to be a big one. Make sure you understand that, you know, when we're meeting next week Tuesday, we'll have the other two commissioners hopefully here. We may have to go through this a little bit more. As opposed to some of your resolutions, even GWA, they're fairly cut and dry. They're nice and tight. This one is a real big procurement. So I think so. We may.
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole thing. That's why I'm glad your materials, no?
Right.
So then you can go through, and I'm sure Commissioner questions as you go. But
yeah. And the thing is, because be prepared, we'll probably have a meeting.
That'll be fine.
Because I don't think anything they have is this heavy,
No,
and that'll give us time to and not feel rushed to get to the matters. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
No problem.
Next one.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item is really
A little simpler.
simpler. Authorization for us to continue to exercise our options under the Armed Service Uniform Security Services. This project was approved by the CCU under let me see, under Resolution 2019-09 in October. Oh no, will be a resolution. That was in, when was that resolution approved? Oh. Oh, here. On June 5th, 2019, Mr. Chair, under Resolution 2019-09, the CCU approved 1.2 million.
2 million, yes.
Again, this was a bid. Previously, two bidders came in. They were very close. for a 3-year contract. And there's a base part of the contract with three different options, not option years, but different options for services.
Uh-huh.
Is and so uh, we receive approval for 1.2. The total project, the total contract. If I can go to the
You're saying it's gonna go
yeah,
to...
this one, Mr. Chair and Commissioner. So the 3-year bid with contract
Page 40.
options, 3.6 million. There's 3 option things involving different types of services. If we did this and added another looking for so and so, if it's did other types of what would it cost? So this was the bid. The lowest bidder was 3.684. We asked your approval and got 1.2 million approval so that we can begin to exercise, because we didn't want to spend all 3.6. It was to be available because we are going through our security needs, and we are working towards the upgrade. We are working towards that point where we have our standards on security, both power and water, because the projects that we're working with is together with GWA for the water wells and all of these different stations together, get to a standard of security, whether lock gates, CCTVs, lightings, all of those different things, right? Which we have been working on to get, if you recall, we've been working with Homeland Security areas trying to get what is the best standard of this, right? So we prepared a bid, and we're awarding a project for a pilot, which is to look at several parts of the system and come up with that standard. We're in that process now. So again, even back then we were working there, and that's why we didn't ask for. Just wanted the flexibility to continue to manage security until we get what we need to do. So we do plan to invest into it. We do have funds available to security measures. We just got to know what. So again, so we got 1.2. So where now is that with the options that we did exercise and everything, we have enough funding. Well, our expenditure is expected to be 1.158 by the end of October. So here we're asking for the commission really to just to fund the balance to the end of the contract period, add another 846. So therefore, the total contract for 3 years will be 2 million, not the 364, which is with all the options. As you can see, we dropped down from these options, right? And again, this could go down if we cut off other options as necessary. So again, because we only have authorization to 1.2, we're asking for the balance of up to 2 million to that. In addition to that, because we're now passing the threshold of 1.5 million, we have to go to the PUC for anything over that. So what we're going to do is, again, if you authorize us, we can spend up to the 1.499, I believe, confirming that, and then we go to the PUC, they approve it, and we can spend, and then that will bring us to more for period up to May next year, right? May 2021.
And are you hoping to then get a new contract in place, John,
Yes.
at that time?
Yep. Wait, this is yeah, that's why I was thinking of some things here. So this is through May 2022, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
A typo there. That's why I was thinking. I was saying we're a little off, but that
Okay.
was yeah. So that gives us time
Okay.
to determine what we're gonna do, and again, this will go. We'll work with again. There's cybersecurity and physical security.
Yep.
We'll go through the chair and the committee.
Yeah.
We'll discuss all of what we're going to do. Then we can lay out so then we can finally have
There we go.
a longer term plan.
Any
But for
questions?
now, this is our request to then.
Yeah,
And again, the next page gives you some of those, some of the things that we've been doing and some of the things that need to be done. So this is the timeline of, we've been working on fiscal and security
Yeah,
to get
John,
to that.
yeah, I think we have a good idea of this resolution. We might have some more questions at the
Sure.
regular meeting.
Yes, Mr.
Okay?
Chair. Okay. So that's the resolution number 20,
Okay,
2022.
okay. And you have a GM report? or-
Yes, Mr. Chair, I can go too quickly.
Sure.
Again, we have adequate margin. We expect the demand probably 245 this month, in October,
Mhm.
this month. What I wanted to show you here is the peak demand on egg. I know my graphs in the past have been very busy, and so what I decided to do is cut it down. I think we made our point there. So what I try to use now is not only just the peak demand, but more the average peak. So it shows you what it looks like with that month. And as you can see here, I graphed it now, the 2019, which is actually the benchmark we're trying to get back to.
Mhm.
And then the 2020 here in the red. And then as you can see, we're getting closer on the average. The average peak actually translates to about the average production for the month, which translates to about the average sales for the month. No? So again, as you can see, we're close to, we're about, in the peak itself, we're about, let me see, here's the 2019 is blue, and then 2020 is red. Oh, here's the variance. The variance is about 1% on peak, no? So we're getting closer and closer. Next. Here's your net metering, again about 7 additional, so that's what they've been rolling around, 7 per month. And so again, we have 2,126 customers, 24.444. When that gets to 26 megawatts, that's when PUC is going to review the filing that we had about the avoided costs and all of that. And we are, in the past public hearing, if you know, with Senator Rigel, we did mention that we're working in a distributed DSM, the DG analysis, which we're trying to bring to show the Commission and the PUC what is the benefits of distributed generation. So we're getting closer and getting that done. Fuel prices, as you can see, it had gone up, like I mentioned last time. It seems to be at least a slower pace. We're receiving a shipment in the next day or so, maybe today. No, yeah, any 15 approximately. About 50. Average cost is about $53 a barrel. We started, remember, back in about 32 and so on, so, but at least it's kind of hanging in there. Next. DSM, we spent already 5.1, and again, we'll have a better report on this because again, we have more money and we have to roll out the other programs. It's just we've just been catching up with current rebates, and then we're going to move out the rest of it. Next.
John, real quick, on DSM though, your current balance, the current balance of available funds to fund DSM?
No, we have adequate balance now. I will start running a balance there, but the way it works now is that beginning June 1st, the PUC approved 1.5 million every 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So before we were tracking the balance of what we were taking from internally generated funds. No?
Mm-hmm.
So now that our balance is climbing now,
Yep.
and so now I'll prepare a report showing that.
Yeah, just so we can see
Yeah.
what the rebates are trending to
Yep.
and what your balance is trending to.
That's right. So we'll do that, and then we're going to open up more, which is start. So immediately, I don't think we're going to be spending $3 million a year. I hope that we do, but But I think eventually, but at least that will start to trend up now.
Well, you had mentioned, opening it up to the commercial side, right? Which
Yeah.
will,
And nonprofits.
Yep.
And nonprofits.
Nonprofits, condos, there are some commercial other issues, and then we can look at other. But again, we, with COVID-19 and all of that, which has been, but
yeah.
we are it's no longer, it's not an excuse for us, it's just, you're starting to see it roll out, no?
Yeah.
Next. Again, these are all the dockets that were improved. They did deny, written decision denying us to retire PD 8 and 9 at this point until we have some kind of agreement with US EPA, or they're saying, because the consent decree has been there,
Includes.
so if you're gonna, until you change or work with the EPA to change that, they, which is okay, that's fine, which also means that, okay, if it's not gonna be changed, then I can begin to move forward with the construction, with the renovation of that plan.
John,
Yeah.
Commissioner Guthrie.
Well, the suit really is looking forward about the filing and the state implementation plan. USEP has to put together a state implementation plan that complies so that people can meet the SO2 standard of certain date, no? So I think that's what, we have worked with them to put it in, and I'm not sure, I think it was a little late or whatever to put in. But it's really to establish the plan and do that. So that's really who they're suing. Yeah, we're involved because whatever they do to correct that suit, if they go in and say you will do this, then hey, hold on a minute, no, you're impacting us, no? So we are watching it. Our team is watching it very closely, and we actually may intervene if stuff. So right now, that process is, we're in contact with US EPA, so in that process we're watching. But
Did our consent decree address this issue?
our consent decree is addressing the rice mac and the
But
SO2 and all
but
of
is it addressing the issue that was brought up in the lawsuit?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is addressing the issue.
Because
But there is that different standard of 1 hour standard. But with the plan that is in place, the plan that is in place under the consent decree would meet that 1 hour standard.
okay.
See? But I'm
No, it's
also,
just that we entered into a consent decree,
yeah.
and we don't want to change the consent decree, just.
No, that's a
you know.
federal, so we
Yeah.
should be, so again, I think
Okay.
the agency a plan, and so they wanted all this to include not only Guam, Puerto Rico, and others. What is your plan to attain that? Okay, Guam was right there, and in fact, they're filing they're giving that plan, and if and I'm not sure, there is some legal discussion going on there, but as far as I'm concerned right now, we're working to see whether we're going to intervene or not, but really, the consent decree is our driving force right now. No? Public hearing, again, I've mentioned this already. We said it's against the bond, so I did appear in testimony, and hopefully nothing happens with 315-35, 8, 9, 8. Next. Energy storage system. 2 parts to the energy storage system. Infrastructure to hook up the batteries to the system so you can charge it. That's all that is done now, or if you will. The next step is turning on the batteries, checking the controls, doing all that. Getting all the parties together. That's been an issue again with the shutdown, the quarantine. So again, we're looking at this now.
This is pushing this back.
It may start again in a week or two, and if it does, it will take about 4 weeks to complete it. So again, we're still,
Okay, John,
yeah.
so the people coming in to do this work, if they have to be quarantined for 2 weeks,
Well,
Yeah,
now they're
that's-
changing it to like 6 days, and then
yeah,
in some cases, they now, again, they've been allowing us for them to quarantine from home. But the problem with some of these companies now is there's several companies involved, and all of them trying to schedule to be here,
it's complicated because of COVID.
complicated with COVID, and then,
Yeah, the quarantine.
we
Okay.
have no control because we're just a small picture of what they do, so. Huh?
Okay.
Yep, it will happen. Think maybe that'll be a nice Christmas present. No? Yeah. So I think that.
Well, we've been waiting a long time for this project.
Yep. So I mean, again, we don't.
Okay.
We'll make sure it's done right. This is,
Okay.
So we're not. I'm not even pushing beyond what they're doing their best to try and get all these parties here.
Okay.
Renewable. The OPA decided in our favor. And we were hoping that nothing happened as of Monday, but they did file in the Superior Court.
They
So
filed the
now,
case?
yeah, they filed around late afternoon on Monday. So now we have to go through that process again. How long does it take? I don't know yet. What I'm going to do next week, Tuesday, I'm going to give you a report to show you, because I was bringing this to the commissioners in 2019, and it got protests. So I couldn't do anything more. So here we waited and got the others. So now, again, it's another protest. We've done to another step, but another protest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it to you next week. I'll give you a report to show you what this project. This project means that this is the model for us to be able to get from 5% and beyond that. Achieve 50% or any without the battery storage model that you're seeing and how we're going to get there. So I'm going to show that next week and show you also that the huge cost savings that this plan provides. And we've been, going through this process again from what? October, like almost 1 year now, on a very valuable project for the community of Guam. But because this is what we have to do, we're paying the price. So again, I don't want to, I want to show the commission how important this project is. And yeah, I'm sorry. Mm. Mm.
On Tuesday, maybe if you could have our legal counsel brief us on the process the
Yeah.
court process.
Right.
Because I'm like Commissioner Gutherds. If the OPA did a thorough review and came out and said we followed the procurement law, we did everything properly, I want to know what their court objection, what their filing in court said.
Yeah. I'd say we can provide that. Right. We have that. Yeah.
Give that to
I'm
us.
sorry.
So-
We'll send that to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So who defends us? Is is it still considered a protest if it's ruled on by the OPA, or is it considered just a lawsuit? Right. So it's past the protest portion. right? The OPA's already ruled on it. Now it's a, okay. And so who defends us? The Attorney General? Hmm. Oh, the AG represents the OPA. Or oh, the territory of Guam, okay. Mm-hmm.
It's
The law allows them to file the appeal.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So at our meeting, we'll have the other two commissioners. Could you update us on that process? Okay? Okay,
uh,
what else, Sean?
customer satisfaction survey. We're going through a process that we've got, to really work with our customers, trying to understand what their needs are. What do they want from us? How can we assist them more? So we're going through that process now. And again, huh? The survey starts this month.
Okay.
And that's all the different parts now. So we're trying to see how, remember, part of our KPIs is how to improve our customer service. So we're going to go at, we've done a lot that we believe they need from us, but now we really need to know what do they need from us. No? So
Okay.
this is going to do that. KPI graphs, demo stuff, Mr. Chair, just updating yourself, historical sales. It's leveling off, and nothing real different other than the first page I showed you where the peak demand is coming closer. That drives all of this other scenario. COVID-19, Mr. Chair. Again, here's the daily unavailable. Here's our manpower here. And here's the reason. Those that are again, these are quarantine versus positive here. All of the total that's here. Again, this is an update to the last one we're doing. We're doing good so far. I mean, it could be worse. There's a lot of quarantines, and that's a result of the social tracking. No? Whenever somebody's positive, we track, was it from internal, was it from outside source, and then who were there around there, and we clean everything up. So we have a very stringent routine handled by our pandemic team. No? By the way, I'm not sure, I just recall that our chief pandemic here is the AGMA, and the deputy pandemic is Melinda, AGMO. I have nothing to do with the pandemic except follow orders, no? So,
Okay,
here, Mr. Chair, again, here looks at the kilowatt hour sales. Slight drop in September, but again, we'll see how it goes. Waiting for after October next. That's the amount of dollars that's impacted. So we're giving you sales in dollars. And this is just base rate, no? We're not dealing with fuel, just base rate. So we'll make sure that we're lining up with our budget. Next, this is your sales. Here's your look, residential still higher than last year, than 2019, as you can see. No? Commercial lower as expected. Next, government and Navy are also a little lower. Not a steep decline, but you know. Next, receivables here gives you an idea of the overall. It's about 6%, which are what you call it, 120. Here, gray is 126% overall, and 91 to 120 is about 543,000. So that's most of it, of course, is in the residential, or 9%. But again, most of this have a payment plan now, so although the recovery is higher, they'll start to come down a little bit at a time, as you can see as the numbers go here. Here. Next, commercial 7. Government, they're paying 1%. So as you can see now, we keep track and all that. Here's the collection by platforms. As you can see, this platform, the online, this web payment online, all that. As you can see, it's moving. Has moved substantially. So again, we're trying to get our customers to, and here's this one is the drop is the, as expected, the in line. In person. So as this drops, this will go up. So our goal is to get this higher and higher, and try and keep customers from having to come in, and be inconvenienced. Okay. Next. That's it. Mr. Chair. So that's
okay. John Kim, do you have something for us, or do you want to tell us next? Yeah, you don't have your end of year numbers yet, right? Okay, John. The only other thing is, I just want to make sure I remember this right. GPA is a low risk oddity, right? GPA is a low risk oddity. Okay. Okay, because that's an important thing. I asked the same thing of GWA. So it's important our two agencies are very low risk as far as audits go. Okay. How's our debt service coverage? Okay. 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 The only other question is, and if you're not ready, make sure on Tuesday you can give us a number. Where are you in terms of the under recovery for the LIAC? You have a number? Okay.
We're doing
4.3 million? Okay.
So it's up 2 million?
No.
3 point something.
I think it was.
Yeah, 1,000.
But you'll get September's, right? So that'll add another 30 days.
Well, it depends, because I think the price of oil went up a little bit, and it's back down again. So that's why I'm asking. You saw an increase from the 3.5 to 4.3, but in that period, John, I think it depends on when you buy the oil. But the price of oil went up to like 45, 55, now back down to 40. So, and John, correct me if I'm wrong, but I seem to remember, if the price of Brent, is it Brent or NYMEX is or WTI is 35, then your current LIAC rate is enough, is sufficient? Yeah. So if the Brent is 35, See, so Brent is like 42 right now. So that means you're accumulating unrecovery. But it's, what I'm trying to do is show that it's, depends again on when we buy.
Yeah. So
We could end up in January 31st, at the end of this LEAC period, we could end up with $4 or $5 million only. It could be higher, it could be lower. It depends on where oil is really crazy right now, I got to tell you. It's going up and down. Okay? So, but thank you. Thank
we'll
you for
have it
that.
on Tuesday.
Okay. Anything else? No? Motion to adjourn?
Okay,
Meeting's
thank you.
adjourned.
Thank you,
Thank
Jen.
you.